friends. Hello, everybody. We are live on Facebook. It is Tuesday, 1st January of this year, 2021. I am so excited to do this first live show with a very, very special friend who is right now in a very sunny place. My friend Stephanie, and you can see Stephanie's dressed. You're not listening to us on my podcast and you're seeing us live or on my YouTube channel, you can see that Dorice is dressed with long shirt because it is cool in Northwest, while her dear friend Stephanie is with short sleeve. And Dorice is a little bit envious, may I say, but I'm a big person, so I will admit it right from the start. I'm so glad to have you, my friend Stephanie. Welcome.
Thank you, Dorice. Thank you for having me. I didn't mean to make you envious, but it is nice and sunny.
Well, part of life is to learn to just enjoy other people's places wherever they are, right? A tough lesson right here in rainy Portland, but I'm up to the challenge. And I want to introduce everybody to Stephanie Arnheim, who is known in the entrepreneurial world as Stephanie Connects. And let me tell you a little bit about Stephanie before we go into questions and the way Dorice does that. But here it is. So Stephanie is a connection strategist and a master networking. And I can vouch that this is indeed true. She educates people on how to reach the next level in their business using simple daily practices, which today we will get a few tips. She has clients and she leads workshops teaching how to overcome fears associated with networking and dynamically connect with key customers and business resources in a powerful way. Have you ever gone into a room with people you don't know because you are new in your business and you're trying to make connections? And let me tell you, even for a person like me who is very extroverted, you all know, I don't have to hide that. It really is amazing how knowing people and knowing how to cultivate a relationship makes a huge difference. And with that, Stephanie is right here to help you, me, everybody to reach the goals that we want to reach. So she has a company called Stephanie Connects, and let's welcome Stephanie to this show. Stephanie, welcome.
Thank you, Dorice. I'm happy to be here and starting off 2021 with you.
Yes. So before we start, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you come to be Stephanie Connects?
Well, it's a great question. I've always been passionate about people. I've always been passionate about connection and building relationships. And I went entrepreneurial a couple times, first in 2004, a long time ago, but then seriously in 2009. And I was in direct sales, which many people may understand. Everybody's probably dipped their toe at one time or another in direct sales. And then I found when I was learning, I needed to differentiate myself. And I realized as an introvert, where Dorice is the extrovert, but introverts and extroverts can be friends, right?
I love introverts. I do. I love them. They listen to me.
Yes, because we can learn from each other. And that's the whole thing about connection, networking. So I realized that through networking and connections and learning those ways, I could build a business. And I realized I like networking and connections more than I like the direct sales. So I left there and I started Stephanie Connects. And about the same time, I also had the opportunity to become managing director of eWomen Network, the Portland chapter. And from using my networking skills, I was able to quadruple the size of the chapter in 4 years. And I did that through networking and building connections. And then at the end of 2017, I said, I want to just focus on Stephanie Connects. So since that time, Stephanie Connects has been my full-time gig about helping entrepreneurs, business people introverts, extroverts, build their business using networking and connection strategies.
Yeah. Let's play back on how we rekindled our acquaintance with one another, right?
Yes.
I went to a workshop with Danielle, and while you knew me from the Jewish organized world, we really
Mm-hmm.
didn't get a chance to talk. And then when I was there, you came up to me with, and you said, "Hi, Dorice." And I remember looking, it's like, okay, I know her, but where do I know her? How do I know her? And then you introduced yourself, and we've become, and that was what, 2 years ago, approximately.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we have become such good friends and collaborators ever since. But
Yes.
you actually practiced that, your skill. You just did it on me when I came, and you saw, because sometimes connection is also reaching out to the new person in the room,
Absolutely.
right?
That is the key. I always look for the person who might not feel comfortable in the situation.
Yeah,
That's a really key networking thing that helps people immediately. They like you, they trust you, and you could build a very, like we have, you can build a wonderful connection that way. Hmm.
exactly. And it's nice because it takes the sales business part of it a little bit to the side. We're just making connections as human being, as in our
Right.
case, two women, and we have our culture that we are similar, or value system. What do you think
Yes.
usually? So here's a question: what do you think people usually connect on? And like, what are the things that connect people?
Well, it depends. I mean, the key part really is asking questions. And like when I go up to say you, it's like I knew that I knew you better than you would know who I am. We can't assume that people know. So it's always helpful, come with an open slate, and introduce yourself and ask an easy question like, how, what made you come today, like to that event where we were at Danielle Louise Ross's event. How did you hear about it? And you had a friend invite you. How does she know? And asking people those questions gives it calms people down, and their personal questions. It's not what do you do, because usually we have a name tag, it tells you what do you do. It's more personal. You're diving deep as to how did you hear about today, what do you like best about your business, or who is an ideal client. Those kind of things help kind of calm the waters and
Yes.
get the conversation going.
I love the idea of coming to a person and asking them about themselves.
Hmm.
Yeah, allowing them, especially the newcomers in the room, allow
Yes.
them to share. And I think that's practice. It can be done for business or for just relationship building anyway. Like the president of a Toastmasters group. And when somebody new comes, we choose them to speak. We offer them the opportunity to speak, just so they get a chance to tell other people who they are, what they like, where they come from, to break a little bit of the ice and not to feel,
Yes.
kind of foreigner to this surrounding.
Right. And you're not interrogating them. You're just helping them feel more comfortable. Getting to know them, and how long have you lived in Portland, or how did you hear about this group? The little things that help make people feel comfortable but valued too. And that's what the art of connection is all
I
about.
love that. I love that. Asking questions, not
Hmm.
interrogating,
No
and
selling.
no selling, and
Right.
just making a person feel comfortable. And so,
Yeah.
you know, in the Zoom world of today and all the past, later part of 2020, I mean, not most of 2020, and for the next few months in 2021, when we're on
Mhm.
Zoom, how do you suggest, or what are your thoughts about doing that? How do we cultivate that in a Zoom world?
In the Zoom world, I mean, networking has just changed in a way a whole 180 degrees. And the way that we can best do that, I feel, is doing one-on-ones. And it doesn't have to be by Zoom. If you've met the person, like, and you know, say what they look like or whatever, you can just pick up the phone and have a phone conversation. And that is actually helping people feel a lot more comfortable and at ease. And if they would like to do a Zoom, totally fine too. But doing a one-on-one, taking the pressure of all those little squares from the meetings we're at, and just coming in, setting up just a one-on-one for even like a half hour. I think it helps people feel more comfortable and at ease.
You are so, so right. And it's case in point. Just today, somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn in messages in the message part, so not for public, for everybody, and said, hey, I'm also a coach, maybe we can collaborate, maybe we can support each other. So, but she said it in a much nicer way that I'm saying it right now, in a way that was like really sweet. How can we help each other? So I sent her right away, and I was like, thank you so much, that's such a sweet message to wake up on a Tuesday morning. Let's get a coffee Zoom time. So she,
Right.
within seconds, she messages me back about some options. And I don't know this woman, she's not from this city, and that's what's available to us on the virtual world. That it's not the connection of physically here, you have to be in Portland, Oregon, or you have to be in a particular whatever city, but anybody in the world. I spoke with people from London and people from Denmark and people on the one-on-one Zoom. And the world is just opening up, which is beautiful.
That's what is, if we want to look at a benefit from COVID, is on the business and networking side, is we're able to connect with people now all over, where before, yes, we miss the one-on-one networking events where we're in person, and we do miss that personal physical connection. However, being able, now I've done more one-on-ones with people in Iowa, in Washington, across the country. It's so easy, and they're being able to be on our networking meetings too. So actually it's increased our sphere on a much easier than it was before. We could see people on LinkedIn, but we didn't get those messages like you got.
Yeah.
We would stick to our physical location. We'd stick to Portland. But now, I mean, that's why I could come to California for a few weeks to still network and still, connect with people, because we're all virtual. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Talking about the gifts of being able to do it virtually during COVID-19 time. Imagine this would have happened before Zoom, before the ability, the technology that makes this possible, right? How?
Yeah. I was using Zoom, but nothing to this degree.
Yeah, but imagine COVID-19 happening before we had Zoom.
Oh, that would have been a big problem. I mean, it would have been a big problem. We are very fortunate that technology has been able to help like our children learn, and help so many people stay in touch with family that they couldn't have seen otherwise. Yeah, it's so important. So that's what a connection is about. It's not only the business side, it is the personal side, just like you said.
Exactly. So knowing those benefits, what do you think are the most difficult aspects in regard to connectivity in general, and maybe in this time during COVID time?
Well, definitely in this time, I'll address that first, is in this time, we don't have the physical interaction. We don't have the physical networking, and people really crave it. And I find actually extroverts have a really hard time with this, because I find, and it's not to say that introverts, we don't too, but people crave physical interaction. We can't hug. We can't, as women, many of the women's groups I've gone to, when you see someone you haven't seen for a while, you give them a hug. Now it's all changed, and we don't go near anyone, even when you're walking or whatever. So that's been a big challenge. And so getting people to come online, they're zoomed out. Many people are zoomed out. So how do you keep things relevant and topical? You know, staying on topic on Zoom, making sure you have good connectivity, you know, you get on online. I have a 17 on my website, there's a 17 tips, virtual tips, because we need to change how we're looking at Zoom. And there's some very easy things, but a lot of people don't think about your background or, you know, how do you look? Those are all the same kind of things you do in-person networking and connecting, and you should think about it other times too.
Yes, yes. One of those things, I'm sure this is a tip on your website, but when you are in a Zoom situation, mute yourself when you have conversation with your spouse.
Yes.
Make your meal. When you're off camera, people can still hear you. And that's
everything.
I have
your papers wrestling. People don't realize that, you know, talking to the dog, you know, put the dog outside.
You know, we have a joke thing because we have a dear friend of ours that we do some group Zoom for different things that I do. And they already know that when they come in, I'm just going to mute them because they know that they don't know how to do these and
yes,
they disturb everybody. So I said,
yes,
muting you, love you, but muting you.
yes. And I think when you're leading a Zoom, as you do many times, you need to, as a leader, it's actually a gift to others. I'm very grateful when the leader says, I'm going to mute everybody. If you want to talk, you can press your space bar or you can unmute yourself when it's time. But inevitably, there's one person who doesn't get it or comes in late. And I love the leaders from a networking and a standpoint who mute everyone.
It's so
it's
important.
Not a bad thing. It's courtesy.
Yes, and also the people who are being muted, I think they are thanking us in their hearts. They're like, yeah, thank you for saving me this embarrassment. Yeah, I totally believe it. I love this. Okay, you know, we are going into the next part, which I wanted to talk about the different tips that you have. And what do you think are not necessarily in Zoom life, but any time tips of connectivity? Because and you know, for those who are listening for the first time, I value connectivity as part of building a relationship. To me, this is that together with trust is the two top factors for anybody wanting to talk to you and continue to talk to you, is when you know how to do this well and that you value the importance of connectivity. So I wanted you, because you are the power here. Tell us what else can you suggest, wisdom that you impart on us?
Well, I would say invest in yourself, invest in relationships and building those relationships, and invest in systems and planning. I'm always about systems. Systems will make your life go easy. I'm like, for example, I'm the queen of spreadsheets, notebooks, or lists, because I don't want to have to remember it. And I want to always come to, whether it's a meeting, whether it's meeting a friend or with family, I want to feel that I feel ready. And so that's where investing in yourself and you're building those relationships, following up. Those are all really key things that I think are super important to be a good connector. And it's not just for business, as I mentioned before, you know, sharing a referral, sharing an introduction, sharing the gift of friendship. Those are all great ways to connect.
So smart. I love the idea, because sometimes, you know, we meet somebody and then, you know, we get to know them, but then a week go by, we didn't follow up with an email.
Right.
We said that we will do something and we don't do it, you know, so kind of be true to your word and follow it up and continue this, because because relationship is like, it's like a building. You have the
It
foundation,
is.
but you
Mhm.
can't live in a building that only has a foundation. You got to start building rooms. And then when you have rooms, you got to go to the kitchen and eat. So you got to create a kitchen. And you know what I mean? There's different aspects of relationship, and it's a work that keeps on happening.
Yes, it does build on each other. And I also, and especially in these COVID times, is like, be gentle with yourself. Because like, if you haven't followed up and you felt you did, but you had to take care of the kids or something came up, it's like, be gentle with yourself. It's never too late to follow up. If you forgot, like, yes, we ideally, I always say, follow up within 24 to 48 hours, but be gentle with yourself, and it's never too late, and people love to hear from you.
Yeah. And you know what? When you say be gentle with yourself, I'm thinking of show empathy toward yourself. Right.
Yes.
Right? Isn't that the same? In positive intelligence, we know that this is the first power. There's five
Hmm.
powers, and the first power is the power of empathy. And of course,
Yes.
the first thing is in positive intelligence is work on yourself before you can work on your relationship with other people, right? So it's about
Hmm.
you. And the idea of
Yes.
empathy with yourself, with where you are, with the value that you bring, with the grace that you can give yourself for not being perfect, is a really, in other words, it's a way of unconditional love, even if we miss the mark. We don't always
Yeah.
have to do the bullseye, you know?
No. And I love what you said about grace. Grace, the element of grace. It's just such a grace and ease. It's so important for us to feel that way towards ourselves and towards others.
Yeah. And I think especially now, because and people sometimes misinterpret that. They think, being in the grace and ease towards yourself, meaning that you allow yourself to be lazy. That's what I hear
Oh,
sometimes, right? It's like, oh, Doris, we gotta, we can't be like too relaxed and okay, well, I didn't
no.
do it today, I'll do it tomorrow. This is not what grace and love and empathy towards yourself is. It doesn't mean that you lower your standards,
Right.
right?
Right.
That's what I think
You
some
still
people
need the
confuse.
balance. Yeah. You need the balance. Yeah, it's not your free card to go do whatever whenever you want. As I mentioned before, you still want the systems. You gotta take action. You still need to take action. So,
Exactly.
but
I
but just don't be too hard on yourself, I guess,
Mhm.
is the other thing.
Yes,
But you
yes.
do need to take action.
I think that is a really important lesson because it's the shift from I wish for something to happen to I want something to happen. And then if you
Ah,
want something to happen, what are the actions that you're willing to put? And then put that in processes, put that in,
right.
in actual milestones,
Yes. Right. What
steps.
steps are you going to take? And we've heard many talks on, the way to do that with that. Take actionable steps, and how are you going to break those steps down into
Yes.
little pieces? All of that. Hmm.
I
That's
love that.
super important.
It is. It is. Okay, that's wonderful. Any other tips you want to share with us? Anything that we didn't cover?
I would like people to think about, who have they not reached out to in a while, whether it's a past client, a past business acquaintance, someone is, especially with 2021, we're really, really waiting to get back out there. So this is the best time to start reestablishing those connections again. The holidays are done. Let's get back to networking. Let's get back to connecting. So who haven't you reached out to, and schedule a one-on-one, or if you see them on a networking meeting, invite them to a networking meeting, or even something not business related, a virtual happy hour. Get back together with those people, and see who you can connect others to, because then you get to do the happy dance, and that's
Yeah.
fun.
Yes, the happy dance. Yes, absolutely. I love the idea of reestablishing relationships with people that you have been maybe a little bit out of touch with. And as you
Yes.
spoke, I was thinking to myself, yeah, I should connect with, X, Y, and Z. I
Mhm.
know that their birthdays are coming up soon. So it's
Right.
another way of connecting through a happy
Yes.
occasion. It's like, hey, I know your birthday's coming up. Let's have a Zoom wine at 8 p.m. on a whatever, just even
And
for 15, 20 minutes. It doesn't, and I think that's a key.
sure.
It doesn't have to be long. Yeah, it doesn't
Right.
have to be long.
Right. And another key question to always ask people, especially in the business world, is who are you looking to be connected to? Let's throw a bone out there to help others. Who
Mm,
are you looking to connect with? And that's a,
that's
it's a
that's
lovely
beautiful
way to help
question.
others.
That's
Hmm.
beautiful because then it's not only I take, but I transfer, right? Because the
And
more you
share.
give, people think sometimes in a wrong way. Like if I give a connection to somebody else, that means I have less. And that's the
Right.
wrong mindset, right? It's
Right.
not helping, because the pie only gets bigger when we more people do it. But sometimes it goes against the psychic of some people. They want to keep things in and close to them.
Right. And we don't, it's safe. It's safe to throw the net out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
And you know what? It makes you feel better. It makes you feel
Oh,
better,
totally.
right? You're an expert in this because you always connect, people to people, people to projects. But even when I connect some people, they say, "Oh, you would love to get to know her. She will be
Mhm,
great for you. She can speak at
mhm.
your event." I feel good about that. I think it's a beautiful feeling, and and you feel like you've done something good in the world, which I think is
Yes.
important. It's not only
And
about
especially
ourselves,
now, right?
especially.
Especially now, we need to make those extra connections to help each other because that's how we're gonna all get through this together.
Yeah. You know that the word to connect in Hebrew is lechaber, and it comes from the same root as the word friend. When we
Oh,
connect with somebody, we become their friend. We allow that channel of friendship to really develop, and that's a gift. So I value that because I'm all about relationships to foster
mhm.
friendship, to foster connectivity, of course, and then love in when it's all said and done, right?
That's lovely. That is lovely. It's a wonderful way to tie it all together. I mean,
Yeah.
connection and friendship, because that is oftentimes the business acquaintances will become friends. And that's how you build the relationships to help build your business or help your children, help your family, help yourself with your own growth.
You got it. You said it. So, Stephanie, thank you so much for joining me from sunny California, you know. So, if people want to find you, how will
Mhm,
they find you? We will put that in the notes of our
mhm.
podcast, but let everybody hear how they can find you, and if there is a gift that you just slightly mentioned, when you want to say that about that.
Sure. My website is stephanieconnects.com. It's plural, connects.com. And on it, I just put up 17 new virtual networking tips that you can take and use very easily, as well as, you can look at old newsletters. I always am giving networking tips. I love to share. If anybody has any networking questions, feel free to send me an email. It's a great way for everyone to stay connected as we move forward into 2021. Thank you for having me,
Oh
Dorice.
my gosh, it has been such a pleasure. Not only this particular show, but just being your friend over the last 2.5 years or so, since we connected first. And you are absolutely a blessing in my life. And I know that you're a blessing in so many other people's lives. So may
Thank
2021 be a beautiful year for you and your husband and your families. And may you succeed in everything you do.
Thank you. The same to you and yours, Doris. It's just lovely. And I love how you're reaching out with your heart-driven work. It's just so needed at this time. Mhm.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.